Warning, this video contains flashing images. If you have any ghost videos you would like me to react to, why not send them to my email address? Thank you very much. Thank you one and all for choosing my channel to chill out to once more. Here we are again, my friends, with some more Reddit true scary stories. Now it is up to you guys and girls out there if you believe these stories or not. You can all make your own minds up. Anyway, without further much ado, my friends, let us head into these scary stories. I shall scare you later. Slightly creepy experience. Quick story. The house I grew up in had 4 bedrooms, my parents downstairs and my brother and I upstairs, with a guest bedroom. One morning at around 2:33 AM, the alarm in the guest bedroom went off super loud. It wasn't a beep, it was the radio. It scared the shit out of me. I ripped the cord out of the socket, and when it didn't turn off, I ran down to wake my dad up. Yes, I was a little bitch. So my dad runs upstairs with me, half awake and in a panic because I am, and we walk into a perfectly silent guest room. I told him what happened, and he cocked his head to the side at me. Giving me a chance, he picked the alarm clock up and checked the batteries. There weren't any. This disturbed me because it didn't make any sense. Creepy Story 4: A Stranger's Hand. This happened to me while I was still living in the US. I was about 6 or 7 back then. My family travelled a lot, going on long road trips, intent on visiting as many cities in the US once vacation started. We had just arrived in Washington DC and visited all the sites referred to in the tourist book, and bought souvenirs from the gift shops. I was walking down the busy street with my parents and my brother, completely exhausted from wandering all day. Before I get into what happened that day, I have to explain my bad habit. I have a tendency to daydream, even while walking or running. I just never stop thinking, to the point of ignoring my surroundings. I still do, and back then my daydreaming ended almost ominously. I was trailing after my parents, who were still discussing which place to visit next. I wasn't really paying attention to where we were going, just staring off into blank space, wondering when we would return to the hotel. That was where my hand was taken by someone, and I was gently led away. Still in a daze, I didn't realise that hand did not belong to either of my parents or even my little brother. The person took my hand so natural. It did so in plain view in the middle of a crowded street, that the thought that someone not of my family had just grabbed my hand did not enter my mind. I followed the person for a few minutes until I eventually looked up, only to find a complete stranger holding my hand. My mind froze, unable to understand what was happening. I nervously looked around to search for my parents in the crowd. When I couldn't find them, I quickly slipped my hand out of the woman's and threw myself into the crowd to look for my family. After a terrifying moment of feeling completely lost, I managed to find them, thank God. I rushed to their side, only to find that they didn't even realise that I had gone.
Thank you for the great support, I really do appreciate it. If you are enjoying what I'm doing, why not think about subscribing to my channel? It is free and would help me a great deal.
One dark and stormy night, a true weird experience. To tell this properly, I must warn you that it's going to be long, so be prepared. Right out of grade 12, my best friend and I moved from a small Saskatchewan city to Edmonton, Alberta. We had saved enough cash for a deposit and 2 months' rent, with a small amount left over for groceries. We were pretty broke, and finding a place was hard without having a car. But we'd felt pretty lucky when we scored a basement suite in Bonnie-Doon, a south central neighbourhood in that city. It was in 1973, and even then, $100 a month was a sweet deal. We had a kitchen, bathroom, and small sitting room, with one very small bedroom and 2 twin beds. It was all furnished except for dishes, pots, pans, and cutlery. For an additional $50 a month, we could have another bedroom, unfurnished, and a huge furnished family room, but we just could not afford it. The catch was, it was not available for 3 weeks, and the landlady and her husband would be away on holidays for 3 weeks. When we moved in, we were really cool with that. We paid our deposit and 1 month's rent, went back home, and waited until we could move in. One feature of our little sitting room that stood out in my mind was that it was all done in black and orange, black lacquer wall and black lacquer built-in shelving that took up an entire wall. The fake leather couch and curtains were orange. We moved in 3 weeks later. We were really excited. I was 18 and Chaz, fake name, was 17. This was our first place. Being curious, I turned the doorknob of the large family room we couldn't afford. It was unlocked. Naturally, I went in. It was ice cold in there. I mean frigid. And oddly, it was furnished with family portraits and stuff, as if still used as a family room. Chaz freaked out when I went in there because we hadn't rented it, so she deemed it forbidden. I didn't care because it gave me the heebie-jeebies. So I shut the door and more or less forgot about it. We unpacked and we were getting used to the place. When you entered the back door, one short flight of steps led to the main floor of the house, and the other went down to our basement suite. There was no door to enter to get into our suite except the back door, so we realised that when our landlords came back from holidays, they'd have free access if they chose. I don't know why we didn't notice this when we rented it. Too excited? Too naive? I guess, but at least the sitting room door and our little bedroom was joined to the sitting room. Could be locked, just not the kitchen or the bathroom area. You see, when you came down the stairs, the sitting room with the little bedroom attached and the forbidden family room were on the right, and the kitchen was on the left. Straight down from the kitchen, there was a tiny bathroom and a shower, and a little further down the other unfinished bedroom, and we couldn't afford. When we moved in, that bedroom door was wide open. I soon found myself not wanting to see into that unfinished bedroom. I started averting my eyes when I went to the bathroom, so I shut the door so I wouldn't have to see inside. However, every time I went to the bathroom, the bedroom door would be open. It got to the point I asked Chaz why she kept opening the door. She said she thought I was doing it. We discovered then that both of us got the creeps from that room. No matter how often we shut the door, it would always be open when we went to the bathroom. 2 weeks went by and we were having a hell of a time finding jobs. Our money was running out fast and we had zip for recreation. One afternoon I got home from job hunting before Chaz. As soon as I got downstairs, I smelt apples. If there is one thing in the world I love, it's apples, and I could even identify that I smelled Macintosh apples. My nose led me to the unfurnished, creaky bedroom. There, in plain sight through the opening door, leaning against the adjacent wall, was a burlap sack full of fresh BC Macintosh apples. I tried hard to resist eating one, but we have been seriously fruit deprived, and so I gave in, thinking no one would notice one missing apple. In truth, I ate 3 and felt guilty as hell. Weirdly, Sleeping Beauty came to mind when I ate them. Chaz got home, and when I showed her the sack of apples right away, she said, "Please don't tell me you didn't eat any." She knew me inside out. I confessed I did, and she was really concerned. She said they might be poisoned. We were thinking I like. But I said I wasn't dead yet, and promised I would not eat any more. We had no idea how they got there, and it really had us paranoid and on edge. In addition, Chaz was getting really homesick, and I was bored out of my mind. We were feeling pretty sorry for ourselves on the dark, stormy evening down in that black lacquered sitting room, while a wicked thunderstorm raged above us, and lightning lit up the small, illegal basement window. To lift Chaz's spirits, I suggested we write letters home to our family's friends, so we did. Then, for some inexplicable reason, I said, "Would you do it if the power went off?" She said she'd freak, of course, and 1 second later the power did go out and we were in complete darkness, save from our lightning flashes. Chaz started freaking out, and to calm her, I lit a candle in her ceramic owl candle holder and advised her we must keep writing letters by candlelight to keep our minds occupied. Then, for another unexplainable reason, I said, "What would you do if someone knocked on the back door? Would you answer it?" "Of course," she said, something like, "Not on your life." And then, I shit you not, someone started banging on the back door. We were shitting ourselves. I ran and got a kitchen knife, and we were both standing at the bottom of the stairs in the pitch darkness of the basement, wondering what the F we were going to do. The door flew open and a strange hippie chick stood there with this friggin' weird smile on her face. And she said, "Don't let the vampires bite you," and goes upstairs into the house. As soon as she did that, the power came on. We were dumbfounded, but oh so grateful for the light. I think it was the next day when we were eating supper that she came downstairs with a bottle of wine and asked if we wanted company. She was already there and we were sort of freaked out, so we just said yeah and sat down at our kitchen table. We poured some wine, then it got really crazy. She stared only at me when she talked. It was like Chaz wasn't even there. She said she was our landlady's long-lost daughter. She looked like she was in her 20s, wearing very hippie clothes, blue jeans made into a long denim skirt with fabric inserts. She told us she ran away when she was 15 and lived in a commune in British Columbia. Right away I thought of the sack of apples. She blabbed for a while about the commune. All I really remember about that was something about having to iron clothes with a frying pan. I mean, I was freaking inside. I had the EBGB so bad I could barely stand it. But for some instinct told me, no matter what, show no fear. Then she takes a sip of wine and turned to take a quick look round at the kitchen door. Turns back to me and says, "That used to be my bedroom." My blood ran cold and a weird whining kind of pressure filled my head and ears, and I just knew it was going to be bad. Then she said, "When I was a little girl, devils, kings, witches and things used to come out the closet and fuck me." I can't describe the emotions I felt. Horror and dread and weirdness all mixed in, but I knew I had to keep my face as impassive as possible, and not to show any fear. So I just said something innocuous like, "Oh, yeah, weird." Then she went on to tell Chaz and me that she used to belong to a witch's coven when she lived here. But this is no lie. Left it and ran away to BC when they wanted her to sacrifice a pregnant dog. I could not make this shit up. It was just so whacked and surreal. I don't remember much of what she said that night, but my head was reeling with the weirdness of her other fucked up statements. I just nodded and acted nonchalant, but inside I was freaking out. She left shortly to parts unknown. Even when we told her her mom would be back any day, that sack of Macintosh apples was suddenly gone too. It was all very odd and indescribable, really. So the landlord and her husband returned in time for next month's rent. We are in serious financial trouble with just enough left for rent. Also, she is not nearly as nice now as she was when we made the rental deal. In fact, she was almost surly. We told her about her long-lost daughter, and she said she didn't know what the hell we were talking about and that she didn't even have a long-lost daughter. Then we started hearing them argue at night, loudly, obscenely, using the most foul language imaginable. Then it gets even more violent. We hear furniture being knocked around. We don't know what to do. We are stuck there for now. Anyway, one day Chaz and I see this ad for positions as busgirls for the Pepper Tree restaurant in the McDonald Hotel, now called the Fairmont McDonald Hotel, built in 1915. It looks like a castle. The problem was we didn't even have a dime for a payphone. Remember, this is 1973, so I would work up the nerve, and it took a lot to go knock on the door upstairs and ask to use the phone. The woman let me in and pointed to the phone on the wall. My heart almost stopped. There was not a stick of furniture in sight. I managed to call and got an interview. I ran downstairs and told Chaz to go use the phone now. Just go. She could see the shock on my face when she came back. She was as flabbergasted as I was. We both got our jobs and got the hell out of there. I want to add something I forgot. Whenever friends came over, they would go into the forbidden family room. Every person who went in there said the room gave them the willies, and it was always absolutely freaking cold. About 2 months after moving out, we were out with friends at the Kingsway Hotel enjoying a couple of beers when a pair of small cold hands covered my eyes and I heard a voice say, "Guess who?" Yeah. It was Freaky Hippie Girl. I just acted nonchalant and slightly removed, despite my senses being in full alert. I did not ask her to sit down and gave unwelcome and distant vibes. It worked, and to my relief, she left. That time in Edmonton was probably one of the top 5 strange experiences of my life. It still haunts me on occasion. I didn't even get into all the details of that time, just the most profound. Thank you one and all once again for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, why not comment, like and subscribe, my friends. Comment, like and subscribe. Anyway, here are some other stories that might interest you. Until next time, I shall scare you later.